Well, hello, IDS 104 students, and welcome to Week 7, Module 7 in the IDS 104 learning community. This week, we're going to be talking about your Week 7, Module 7 assignments and how to make sure that you are finishing the term strong. Your experience here at Southern New Hampshire University is so important to us. It's our policy and practice to create an inclusive and accessible learning environment. If there are aspects of instruction or course design that may present barriers to accessibility, please notify the Online Accessibility Center, the OAC, as soon as possible at 866-305-9430. You can also email them at oac@snhu.edu or visit the Online Accessibility Center website. Couple of webinar reminders that this is an academic space, so always be mindful of your conduct. These webinars are not graded or required, but you will learn about how to do assignments from week to week, and we go over concepts that you are working on in your course. Y'all, you have made it to the last 2 weeks of your IDS 104 course. This week, you have a final project. You're working on that very last submission, that last draft to complete your project in your IDS 104 course. And you will also notice that you have a non-graded discussion opportunity. There is a space, shall you want to provide some information or tips in that week 7, module 7 discussion area, you can. However, it is not required and it is not graded. So again, this week you're submitting that last portion of your project template, that last draft. There is a key tip that I want to make sure that you all understand as you are working on the final piece of that assignment. The grading rubric for this week 7, module 7 draft includes an exemplary category, okay? This is your chance to shine. So it's so important always to go back to the weeks where you turned in the project drafts and take a look at the feedback, that graded feedback your instructor left you. If they recommended any changes or updates from earlier drafts, if they wanted you to kind of expand your information, like add details or more examples, you want to make sure that you have done that, okay? If you've already done a great job and you aced all of those drafts and did perfect, there's still an opportunity for you to take your project to the next level. You could add in even more details or stronger examples or anything that might elevate your project to the next level. There is a exemplary category. Make sure you review that in the module 7 assignment overview, okay? As a reminder, video note submissions are not permitted for any drafts or any part of your project. Again, that discussion is not graded. It's just an opportunity for you to provide feedback. And this last project draft is due by Sunday or before as convenient for your schedule. Now, before we dive into a quick assignment overview, I wanted to stop and pause for a minute and talk to you a little bit about making sure you're able to finish this term strong. So with that comes the opportunity of taking a minute to assess ourselves and how we're doing. So I always like to ask students, do you know how to assess yourself? Do you ever take a minute and pause and reflect on what is happening in your everyday life? I love this quote by Aristotle: knowing yourself is the beginning of all wisdom. So how do we do a self-assessment, Melanie? Well, let me tell you. How we do a self-assessment is we first ask ourselves questions, and typically they're hard questions. We want to stay positive, we want to open up the lines of communication, and we want to take action for our success. So what does that mean? So asking ourselves questions or asking those hard questions, I like to call them hard truths. It is asking yourself, when you think about this term, okay? When you think about this term, think about academic life, think about professional life, think about personal life. What are the things or the one thing that you are doing well? Bonus points if there's more, right? It's what am I doing really well that I'm proud of this term? What are my strengths? For example, what if you're turning in your assignments early or you're turning your assignments in on time? Maybe you've been managing your time really well. Maybe you've noticed your strength is hey, I'm actually not too bad of an academic writer. I feel pretty strong about this stuff. And on the flip side, what are your areas to improve? If there is one thing that you need to fix, what is it? For some of you, maybe it's you didn't make your SNHU time and you have really got to do better about that because you got stuck or got yourself in a pickle a few times this term. Or maybe you realize holy smokes, I have not written academically in such a long time, and I feel like I'm struggling with like citations. I feel like I'm struggling with my grammar. That might be an area for you to improve, right? So what can you do about it? What can we do about it, y'all? We can use our resources, which is the question of who can help me. You have so much support here at the university, both inside and outside the classroom, to benefit you and your success, right? Maybe things here at school are academically are going great. Like you feel on track, you feel like things are like falling in line, you're in a routine, your grades are good. Maybe it's outside the classroom space where you're like, whew, I'm on the struggle bus. So apply those same questions home life and professional life, okay? It can just really help you balance yourself out a little bit so you don't feel overwhelmed. It is also so important. We talk so much in our digital literacy and good digital citizenship discussions about the importance of being flexible, right? So it is so important to be flexible with yourself and remember the power of positivity. There is no way that every single day is going to be sunshine and glitter. It's just not going to happen. There's going to be some tough grades, there's going to be some tough days, there's going to be some tough situations, but the most important thing is you keep picking yourself back up and you keep moving one foot in front of the other to believe in yourself. We believe in you, but you have to believe in yourself. And here at SNHU, we have so many ways for you to communicate for your success. Whether you're stuck, you have questions, or you want to utilize a resource here at the university to help you be successful, every single department has a phone number, okay? A lot of your faculty might text message. So check the My Instructor announcement in your course. It always tells you the best way to get a hold of your faculty, right? You can set up appointments with faculty. You can set up appointments with the different departments and teams and resources here at the university. You also, every single department has an email address. Your faculty has an email address. So maybe you've fallen behind. Maybe you're missing an assignment or two. Don't let that deter you from still finishing strong. Reach out to your instructor and say, hey, life has happened, or let them know what is going on. Would I be able to submit these missing assignments? They can always say no. They can always say no. However, some points are better than no points. I tell students that all the time. So even if the late penalty applies, some points are better than no points, okay? So communicate for your success, go after your best self, whether it's inside the classroom or outside the classroom. And just remember that, again, you have so much support. So just a really quick reminder, you have resources here at your disposal from academic support, the tutoring, the written feedback. There's a lot of academic coaching. You have the library with all the citation resources and the research resources. You have your advisor, your faculty. You have the SNHU community, plus you have any social supports. Those are the people, places, and things outside the university that can support your success. But the biggest thing is you have to take action for your success. You have to be the one that makes the connection and asks for assistance or reaches out to that resource, right? Today is the day because nothing changes if nothing changes. So if you're looking at a grade that you're not happy about, instead of wallowing, I mean, you can have like a 2-minute pity party. That's fine. I'll let you have that because we all have those days. But you have to pick yourself back up and be like, all right, what can I do about it? If that was me that had a grade I struggled with or an assignment I was missing, I would reach out to my instructor and be like, hey, is there any way that I could resubmit this for you to take another look? Or can I still turn that assignment or those assignments in for some points? I don't care what I get, just some points are better than no points, right? So take a minute, evaluate your term, evaluate if you're missing anything, and reach out to your resources to go after your best self, okay? So that's just a quick little pep talk to get you to finish the term strong. Again, your assignment this week is really finishing up that last project draft. So you are not creating a new document, y'all. No new document. Whatever template that you have been working on all term, whether it was the PowerPoint slide deck or the Word document, you want to continue using that same template. You just want to fill in the last spot, okay? So you have that very last spot that says to complete in Module 7 that is due by Sunday or before of week 7 here in IDS 104, okay? As a reminder, it's a great way to reflect on what you've learned this term. That grading rubric for this last submission does have that exemplary category. Again, it's your chance to shine. So of course, make sure if there was any recommended edits or changes or you needed to expand upon details from your graded feedback on previous drafts, you want to implement that. But also this is your chance that maybe you did really great on all of the drafts. You can also still add some details or tie in some stronger examples to elevate your project to the next level. I will tell you what I do when I grade these, and I think I speak for most of the faculty here. We will pull up previous drafts and compare it to your final draft. Okay, so just to kind of like make sure, like, oh yeah, I recommended for them to change this or update this or add some details or give me an example. Did they do that? Did they not do that? So remember that. That's how we're going to do it. So make sure you're going back to those graded feedback for those previous drafts and seeing what your faculty had to say. Okay. Again, use the template, whether it was that slide deck for the PowerPoint or the Word document, whatever you started using, continue using, you're finishing it, right? If for some reason you created your own document or you separated out the slides to be like, this is what you turned in this module, this is what you turned in the next one, and this is what the final, it all needs to be one combined document for Module 7, okay? If you get stuck, if you have questions, use your resources and definitely reach out to your instructor, right? Before I share the classroom space with you, I just want to give you a quick reminder that we 100% believe in you here at SNHU. So you have got to believe in yourself and remember that you got this. You have worked so hard all term long. So now it's time to finish strong and finish week 7. Okay, so let's go into the classroom space here just real quick, y'all. Again, Module 7. When you go through Module 7, always review the introduction. Make sure that you review what you're doing this week and why you're doing it. It's so important to scroll down and arrow over. Go through the Module 7 guide that gives you a lot of context into what you're doing, and it's great reading that's actually within your module, so don't miss that, okay? It's very helpful in completing your assignments. Plus, you have the required resources, any videos or articles to read or to listen to. Those are all right there, so make sure that you review those. As a reminder, I said there's a non-graded discussion section. Shall you want to put something here? Nothing is required. This is literally just a space for you to ask questions that might be relevant and related to these project drafts, but it's also a great space where you can share tips on how maybe you put your draft together. Do not share any pieces or parts of your project draft here, but it's also a great place too where you can share like any time management strategies or like things that kept you motivated this term. It's just really a great space. Shall you want to put something in here? You can do that. Again, it is not graded and it is not required, okay? It's just a great space if you wanted to add any of your feedback. What is graded is this last project draft, so that 7-2 project. When you click on guidelines and rubric, as always, it pulls up an overview of the assignment, right? So you are in the last section. You completed part 1 already. We completed part 2. Now we're in part 3, which is all about decision making. So as a reminder, you have been using either a PowerPoint template or the Word template all term. What I wanted to remind you is whatever you were using, continue using. If for some reason you decide to switch templates, you have to include all of the pieces and parts. Okay, so my recommendation is to not do that. But if you decide to do that, that's fine. You just want to make sure you have all pieces and parts and that everything carries over correctly. Okay, so I've mentioned a couple times in this webinar session to review the project rubric because you will notice that there's an exceeds expectations category here. Okay, so make sure you know how you're graded and make sure if you have any questions that you reach out directly to your instructor who is grading you because they can see the previous assignments that you have submitted. Okay. Just a real quick look at those templates. Remember, for the Word document template, when you open yours should be filled out for part 1 and part 2. These highlights are mine. Yours will not be highlighted. We are finishing just this last section right here, the part 3 decision making. Complete this section in module 7. Okay. The other template, of course, is that PowerPoint template. I'm going to pop that open here just real quick so we can look at it one more time. Again, for that PowerPoint assignment, you should have already completed part 1. And as we scroll through, you should have already completed part 2. So what you have next is this part 3 decision making. Okay. So just wanted to remind you that this information is here. Whatever template you started with, make sure that is what you finish with, and you are turning in an entire completed document. Okay. Now, if you have questions, you get stuck, make sure to reach out to your instructor. But as a reminder, this last piece of your project is due by Sunday or before is convenient for your schedule. Y'all are going to knock this out of the park. I'm super excited for you to finish this project. I think it's a really cool project, and I love seeing all the hard work and dedication that has gone into these. So, y'all, have an amazing week 7. You only got one more week left. I will see you in week 8. You got this.